beautiful. There's
the stupidest thing.
No, it's not, David. Nothing I ever send you is stupid.
You are wearing a V-neck shirt.
It's not a deep V.
And I can't take you seriously whenever you're wearing a V-neck shirt.
I can always wear a V-neck shirt.
There's nothing wrong. That's why I can never take you seriously.
But V-necks are pretty. It shows off that little V on my neck.
Oh God, V-necks are
V-necks are the future.
I have a very strong opinion about V-necks.
I know you do, because you wear crew necks like a weirdo.
Nerdy, unqualified, and probably indistinguishable from rambling. Welcome to the A&D Show. Hello and welcome to this week's episode of the A&D Show, and we are so blessed.
Welcome, I'm back.
Because Austin is back. He had a bit of a sickness the last time. I think he became a zombie.
It's not entirely out of the realm. I was temporarily NyQuil and DayQuil. I love the quills. NyQuil, if you're listening, I will take a sponsorship tomorrow.
Because NyQuil listens to this podcast. Because
I should.
All of NyQuil and all of the quills.
I just love the quills. I love the Z quills, the NyQuils, the DayQuils. If I can have like work quill, it's just like, hey, we'll help you get your job done.
For some reason, every time you say quill, it makes me think of Dr. Quinn, Medicine Woman.
It's not. It's kind of the same thing.
I don't know why.
Was she like an Indian medicine woman, or was she just
it was a TV show from like.
Well, no, I know the TV show, but I never saw it.
No, she was just a really pretty lady who.
Wasn't she the lady that was on Touched by an Angel?
She might have been.
Ruma Darnay or something.
I don't know. I never learned their names.
Roma. Like it started like an R, like Roma, like Roma tomato.
Roma tomato.
But it was a tomato. Obviously.
I think it might have been romaine lettuce.
No,
that's not it.
No, that's not it.
Well, we have a very special episode today. We are diving into the
arena that is
we're diving in
men's fashion.
We're diving headfirst into the rabbit hole that is men's fashion, and we are going to and a number of other things as well.
If it's any consolation, neither one of us should really be disseminating men's fashion, as it turns out.
This is fair. Neither one of us are particularly fashionable.
I have a wife that dresses me, and she does a darn good job of it. I mean,
yeah, and I don't have a wife who doesn't dress me, and she also does a horrible job.
But no, I think you sell yourself short on your attire.
Here, all I'm saying is I dress myself, so any credit goes to me.
Yeah, but if you don't deserve that credit? I
don't deserve that credit.
What if you don't deserve that credit?
If I don't deserve the credit for dressing myself, I probably shouldn't be an adult.
That's true. I shouldn't either, though. I have a child for some reason.
So the good
Lord's like, you need is a kid. That's what we should do with you.
Yeah, give you a child. So you have somebody to relate to in your household.
same wavelength.
Right. So diving into this really serious and very important conversation that we're having today, we need to discuss something that's very important. And that
is like life or death.
Yes. This is the future of humanity. It's based on our decision that we make today in our conversation topic that we have just right now. Here it goes. Right now, V-necks.
How deep?
How wide? How great are the V-necks?
Listen, I want to look. I'm a V-neck person. Mm-hmm. I like V-necks.
Sure.
The problem with V-necks is that I was a big fan of like Fall Out Boy and all like the punk pop era from like the 90s emo scene, and I remember the V-necks got super duper deep. Mm-hmm. Like it's like, hey, this is my V-neck and this is my belly button. It's like how deep should a grown man's V-neck be?
I think we should start by answering the question of how grown of a man do you have to be before V-necks are no longer an important thing in your life?
33 is not that number. It turns out.
Well, let me just start by saying that in a past life, I would indulge in the rather infrequent wearing of a V-neck from time to time. I'm actually, if I'm honest, I do enjoy a V-neck. I like the way they look on other people, not necessarily on myself. I do like a V-neck. I think it looks like a very comfortable, fashionable shirt. But then we come to the predicament of how deep is that V-neck supposed to be? What's appropriate? What is socially acceptable?
Well, I think that question, part of that question comes from, or part of that answer comes from, are you Italian? Do you have hair coming off of the sprouting out?
Does your neck beard morph into your chest hair?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Is it kind of is it all like one? Is it like a one piece thing going on there?
And if it is, if you shave, do you shave down the neckline to that
now
point?
This is a whole new. This is a whole other topic.
Maybe we should save this for another episode.
We should save this because this opens up a can of worms about how far down do you shave your neck. We'll digress. Part of the answer to the question about V-necks, how deep it's too deep, is how hairy your shirt is. If you're wearing a V-neck and I can braid what's sticking out the top of your shirt, it's probably too deep. I'm gonna be honest. My dad's got a hairy chest. You know who he doesn't wear? V-necks. He also doesn't wear V-necks because he's 50-something years old and he says that he's a contractor.
Is that the definitive line then? Are we saying that 50-something, 50 years old and you're no longer allowed to wear a V-neck?
No, because my pop wears V-necks.
I'm pretty sure people like Toby Mac, who's 100, pretty sure he wears V-necks exclusively. I mean, he's not exactly the pinnacle of what everyone wants to be in their life.
Hot take. I'm not a big Toby Mac fan.
I'm not big on T-Mac.
No, not either.
Or any of his... Anyway, moving on from that. So V-necks, how deep is too deep? So I was speaking with somebody the other day, and you called me out. I wear the crew neck like a weird person, but it's okay. I like it.
No, and it's okay to be a crew person. That's fine. I prefer the V's.
Well, and here's the thing. I did prefer the V's for a good long time, but there came a point at which I could not afford the V's that I liked anymore, and I had to kind of downgrade. And what I mean by downgrading is spending more money on something I didn't like.
Yeah.
And so I was wearing the Gildan.
Ooh,
the Gildan V-neck.
That's nice.
That's a nice V-neck. They don't make them in a tall, which I'm a very tall person.
You are. But that's one thing about you. You're deceptively tall as a fella.
Yes. Well, I have very short legs.
Oh, that helps.
But I have a very long torso.
You do have a long
I have 15 extra vertebrae in my backbone.
That sounds painful.
It's not true.
It's not true. I don't think that's right.
I sometimes feel like the grandpa from King of the Hill that got his shins blown off when he was killing Feeding Man, And I'm just waddling around everywhere. I kind of feel like that guy.
It's an underrated show. Bobby.
But anyway, I was wearing...
Bobby, sell some propane.
I was wearing Gildan V-necks, and the Gildan V, classic, comfortable, perfect depth of V, right? For me, at least. Which I'm a fan of a shallow V, not necessarily... I like it to be right at the collarbone.
Okay. And mine goes just a hair below the collarbone, and I'll acknowledge that. Yes. Now my V's vary from whatever,
depending on the brand, depending on the shirt.
Right, yeah.
Depending on whether you tuck them in.
Do you tuck in V's? I'm tucking T-shirts.
I don't think you do.
I think if you're tucking in a T-shirt, you're either my dad or someone. I'm assuming you're someone's dad if you're tucking in your T-shirt. I have that problem with T-shirts.
Now I do tuck in T-shirts, but not if I wear them by themselves.
Right.
Like as an undershirt.
Right, I'll agree with that. Yeah, if I'm wearing an undershirt, yes, of course I'll tuck it in. Right. But if I'm just, if I'm right now I'm wearing track pants and a hoodie and a V-neck. Yeah. It ain't tucked in.
Yeah.
But if I'm wearing a sweater, that boy's tucked in. Right. Because if not, you're gonna get a tail.
Well, see, that's where my entire life was built around, was these Gildan V's, right? As undershirts. I liked them as undershirts, and I felt like they were comfortable, looked nice.
Now, see, trendy. I don't like undershirts. I like wearing V-necks just as a V, as this is my shirt.
So our listeners, listen up. You're already listening, but listen again, because you're getting a double-sided argument here. You're getting, the T-shirt purist who only wears the T-shirt to wear the T-shirt, and then you got the T-shirt impurist,
undershirter,
who's the undershirter. Sounds really bad.
Yeah, it does. I said it the first time, and I'm like, you know what?
Then I repeated it.
Shouldn't use the word undershirter.
And then, so when I got done with the Gildan, and I just either I couldn't find them anymore, or whatever the case was, I ended up going to the supposedly higher quality Hanes V.
That's the first problem.
Yeah,
with the Hanes V.
Now here's what happened. Let me explain to you and to our listeners what's happening. The Gildan V rested right at the collarbone.
Not the Hanes, though.
Perfect.
Right.
The Hanes rested brand new out of the package, like midway down the sternum.
Because the Hanes are made as an undershirt. That's what Pop wears. Mm-hmm. Hanes undershirt. He's worn. My grandpa has worn Hanes undershirts, V-necks for years. And when I was a kid, V-necks were weird. When I was younger, back in my more formidable days. Now, see, I like I'll get V-necks wherever they fit nice. So yeah, I've got some from Old Navy. I've got some from H&M. I've got some that are. I got some recently that were the Penguin brand. And I love how they fit tomorrow night. It fits perfect. But you can definitely have two DB. The emo kid that's got like that V-neck going down like his breastbone. Mm-hmm. That's too low. That's too low.
And we can draw the line here. I think this is a good place to make the definitive statement. And I'll make mine, and then you can make yours. Right? In my personal / professional / podcast host opinion, too deep is whenever it crosses the point of no return. Yes. At which point, even if you're not a particularly hairy person, your chest hair is going to be shown.
I will agree with that.
That's where I agree. And I'm thinking from the nape, not the nape, from the point at which your collarbones kind of come together underneath the middle of your neck. That point, 2 inches below.
No, I think if you can see chest hair, it's too low. Yeah. Now me, I could probably go down my belly button because I've only got Carl. Carl hangs out. He's about an inch from the center of my chest. I have one chest hair.
Only chest hair.
His name is Carl. His friend Bill comes out once in a while, but he's not down very often.
Really awkward conversation.
I know. It's a good.
Named your chest hairs.
It's a good view. Listen, this is who I am. All right, this is who I am as a person. I like to name stuff. I name my shoes. It's left and right. It turns out it's nothing really fancy.
But you just named them left and right? It's like naming a dog.
I'm just kind of making a joke, but yeah, sure.
Okay. So the definitive statement is 3 inches, between 2 and 3 inches below the top of the collarbone probably is too deep for us. Now, listeners, you can make your own educated decision. We're not here to tell you what to do with your lives.
And you can be wrong if you want to.
Yeah, I mean, you can be wrong if you want to. It's not our problem. We don't have to look at you unless you're one of our friends, which you're not.
Well, you can be.
You are. I think we consider you.
I think if you're listening, if you've invested
at least 45 minutes,
if you've invested more than 12 seconds listening to this conversation today, you are probably either one of our parents or probably a very good friend
or your wife.
I don't know that
I don't think your wife even listens to this podcast.
Wife, if you hear this, okay, if my wife hears this, okay, I will give you a half-hour foot rub if you acknowledge that you've heard this podcast. And nobody tell her about it, okay?
Nobody tell her. This, and next time we come to an episode, we'll reprise this
I'll guarantee
we'll bring it up again.
I'll guarantee you this does not happen.
Man, what a crazy situation that would be if it actually happened.
It's not gonna happen.
We'll find out next. Tune in in a couple weeks for the other half of that story. Let's move on. So we've talked about V-necks. We talked about how deep is too deep. Now we're gonna bounce off of that men's fashion for just a second because we are super nerds.
Yes,
that's why we do this podcast. That's what our podcast catchphrase is: nerdy, unqualified, and undistinguishable from rambling. And so, I mean, it makes sense that we would bring up movies at every opportunity, right? So, and I don't know about you, Austin. I'm a fan of the musical from time to time. I like a really well-made musical.
Well, that's one thing that we have in not common.
Oh, you hate musicals?
I don't. Yeah. Well, we discussed before. I'm not a big music person.
That's fair.
In general. Now, growing up, my sisters loved Grease.
Like Cooking Grease?
No, the musical. Oh, with John Travolta.
I was going to say I cooked some hamburger last night. That was some real good grease.
Grease lightning. Anyway, they loved Grease. So like they literally, like I remember my sister. She got it on DVD and she watched Grease like nonstop for a summer. And it's one of those things where it's like after I heard "Look at Me, I'm Sandra Dee" 450 times, I looked for a way to like run away, but it turns out that I didn't have a job or anything else.
Well, the question that I think we should ask ourselves in this very formal, very important conversation is, what movie is there in this world of film that would be awful, amazingly awful, as a musical. Now, excluding movies that are already musicals, I mean, my default answer would be... never mind. We won't go there.
No. Please continue.
Well, I was going to say, the only movie I can think of off the top of my head that would be horrible as a musical is The Sound of Music.
But that was kind of a musical. I feel like... Is it because you don't Julie Andrews? Is that what the problem is?
No. I actually really like that movie, and it wasn't kind of a musical. It was only a musical, exclusively musical. Anyway, so excluding already made musicals, Into the Woods was another really good one that I really liked with James Corden.
Wait, wasn't it the Beatles?
No, that was
what was that movie? There's a musical about the Beatles.
I don't remember.
If you're listening to this podcast, I want you all to know one thing. If you know anything about me, I want you to know this. I firmly, without a doubt, and with all of my heart and being...
Hold on. Before you say what you're about to say, consider our audience here. If there's going to be something that's going to turn them away...
No, this is true.
Okay.
The Beatles, far and away, are the worst musical act of all time.
I can feel the people turning it off.
They are the most overrated...
Oh, gosh.
Pile of music.
This is not the point of this question.
I know it's not. But I asked about the Beatles, and now I'm sidetracked because I hate the Beatles.
Oh boy. Okay. Well, let's try to.
Okay. All right.
Let's try to get back on that because people are probably trying to burn us in effigy right now because of that statement.
It's blasphemy, probably, but it's true.
So, what movie? Just randomly off the top of your head, what movie can you think of right now that would be amazingly horrible as a musical?
Smokey and the Bandit.
Which one?
All the Smokey and the Bandits.
All the Smokey and the Bandits.
Maybe the first one. If I could just have like an hour and a half or an hour and 45 minutes of them just singing the Bandit song. That or Convoy. If you've seen Convoy and you love Christopher Christopherson like I do, you'll understand this.
Oh my goodness.
Convoy. It's amazing. It's a terrible, terrible movie. If it's from the 70s or 80s and it's about trucks or truckers, it's a great movie by default.
What about Con Air?
Oh, Con Air would have been a great musical.
Nicolas Cage.
But a great musical.
Like, could you imagine like all the actors and actresses or whatever in that film while they're on the plane, right? Good. And they bust in this sing song and they're like, "We're prisoners on the plane."
Oh, actually, I would watch that. I would be completely. I would be happy to watch that. What about Signs by the M. Night Shyamalan?
Yes, it'd be very dramatic. Have you ever seen the Shia LaBeouf musical video where he made a musical about himself and then he produced it and watched it and he was the only one in the audience?
Oh yeah, I don't. Shia LaBeouf went crazy. Didn't he? Like I thought Shia LaBeouf was going to be amazing. Like after like Transformers, I'm like, this is going to be great. And then it's like, oh, wait a second. Once you can't make millions upon millions upon millions of dollars, that's what I've never understood. Why do these actors that like I don't want to get pigeonholed into a certain role? It's like you do know that you're getting paid like $20 million per film to do this, right? Like I don't care if you want to pigeonhole me into one role where I can keep making movies over and over and over and still get paid. I'm gonna do it. Pigeonhole me all I want to. I don't care. I don't need to be a serious actor.
Right. Take a listen. I don't know if you've heard this or not, viewers, listeners, but listen to this for just a second.
You're walking in the woods. There's no one around and your phone is dead. Out of the corner of your eye, you spot him. Shia LaBeouf. He's following you, about 30 feet back. He gets down on all fours and breaks into a sprint. He's gaining on you.
Shia LaBeouf.
You're looking for your car, but you're all turned around. He's almost upon you now, and you can see there's blood on his face. My God, there's blood everywhere.
Running for your life from Shia LaBeouf. He's brandishing a knife. It's Shia LaBeouf. Lurking in the shadows. Hollywood superstar Shia LaBeouf.
Okay, I won't push that any further, but that is what, if we were to, what was the movie you said?
Smokey and the Bandit.
No, the one you just said. Before I did that. I can't remember.
Oh, the M. Night Shyamalan movie.
Yes. Okay, so Signs. If you were to make a musical of Signs, like, that's exactly the style of music that I would hear in there.
I agree.
It's like, aliens, like real spooky, like Phantom of the Opera style stuff. Hilarious. What about if the Avengers movies...
I don't...
Or, like, if they were a musical, like, if they were singing while they were, like, kicking the junk out of these...
I don't know that, like you could even find a way to make that, like, musically. Could you? I mean, like, because see, I was thinking about movies like that too, like you know, The Dark Knight. You get Heath Ledger doing the snappy fingers.
If you have the right director,
like I'm gonna get the Two-Face. I mean, like how, like I don't know how you would make it work.
I'll tell you how you would do it. You'd get the right director. It would be a totally different director. It would be a totally different film. But if you had like Edgar Wright, you know who Edgar Wright is?
Yes,
the guy who made like Baby Driver, for example, right? And everything in that movie was like synced up to music. It was like all cut and choppy and everything. And it was all to music. So that's how you would have to do it. It wouldn't be with the Avengers. You'd have to do it that way.
I'd probably watch it still. I don't know that I'd watch. I would love it like I do. Mm-hmm. I mean, it'd be okay to watch.
Yeah.
But it wouldn't be, I feel like
it wouldn't be quite the phenomenon that it's become.
Like, I would love to know like what would be like if you go from like what it is now to make it a musical, like it'd be one of those like so bad it's good kind of movies. Like what would be just like really really awful, but one of those that it becomes like a cult classic, like Donnie Darko or something like that, where it looks so bad, but then you watch it like I'm hooked on this movie.
What is that movie that Disaster Artist?
Yes, The Room.
The Room.
The Room.
Now that would be an amazing.
Oh, hi, Mark.
Music.
Oh, hi, Mark.
Oh, hi, Mark.
Oh, hi, Mark.
You're killing me, Linda.
If you've never seen clips from this movie called The Room, you need to do it.
YouTube right now. They actually made a feature film about the making of that feature film because it's the worst film ever made. So, anyway.
It's amazing.
That, which actually segues us really well into our next topic. If you could eliminate one inanimate object from existence, what would you choose? The Room.
The Room, yes. Any musical that I would love to...
Every musical?
Every musical. What's the one thing that, like, if you totally eliminated, you don't know how people could like live? Like, if I said, okay, no light bulbs,
the internet.
Yeah, I'm like, no, I don't want to be miserable.
I mean, so you're asking
miserable. What I'm saying is like if I got rid of light bulbs, all right, and you go to work tomorrow. Do you get a candle at your desk? Like, how is this going to work?
Yeah, we carry around those like candle things with the candle on the.
Like, how do you answer the phone? And I mean, it's like how do? Like,
well, I mean, electricity would still work. There would just not be any light bulbs.
Right, but it's just dark everywhere.
Yeah.
So literally, unless you're, there are
places.
Unless you have like a window seat, like
there are places in the world where they don't have electric lighting.
Oh, I love that.
Amish communities.
Yeah, but they'd have candles or everything.
They don't.
A lot of windows.
They have those like. What are those gas lanterns that have like the old style with a little sack that lights up?
Yeah. So isn't it not like kerosene or whatever?
It's like a little pouch.
Yeah.
And it burns and glows real bright. They have those.
We had that
but
when we were kids.
They use most like businesses and restaurants and stuff that are Amish run for Amish communities or whatever. They only operate during the day on like natural lighting.
That seems like a lot of work.
Like windows and ceiling lights.
But the Amish make good food. So what if I want to get food with the Amish people and I can't go because I have a job like, people do, and now I can't get Amish food because, I get off work and it's dark time. So now I don't get to eat Amish food.
Oh, so you're saying no headlights either?
No, there's no lights, period.
No lights, period.
No, a light bulb was never invented. There's no such thing. There's no LED lights, nothing like that. There's no light on your phone.
Well, here's the thing. Think about this.
You can only use your cell phone during the day because there's no backlight.
Ooh.
Yeah. No, I'm telling you, there's no such thing as like a light bulb.
It'd be like the Kindle.
Like a light source.
Like a Kindle. Or a Nook. It'd be like a Nook. like a digital ink screen.
Like, hey, do you like to read during the day? Well, not really. Well, good, because you don't get to.
So, think about it like this. The one thing that's interesting about taking away light bulbs is when you consider what light bulbs do, like all the plethora of light bulbs that exist in the world and what they do to the world.
Yeah,
it pollutes. Like, you've heard of light pollution, right? You can't walk out. That's the reason you can't see stars in a big city, right? Because there's all this ambient lighting that's just going everywhere, right? So imagine if light bulbs didn't exist, if lighting didn't exist, external, non-organic lighting didn't exist. I mean, there'd be ways, candles you could use or whatever, but you wouldn't have light pollution, so you wouldn't necessarily need headlights to see, to
It'd
drive.
Be so bright at night.
Yeah.
Except for the deer. You see the deer.
Well... Then we just get rid of cars and walk everywhere.
Oh, Lord in heaven, no.
Or
then you're stuck where you live.
Or get rid of ground transportation and give everybody some kind of like one of those
jetpacks.
One of those mechanically operated Da Vinci flapping birdie things.
Those didn't work, did they?
They did in Assassin's Creed.
Yeah, but this isn't Assassin's Creed.
But this Assassin's Creed is life. It's really not that. It's not
Chipotle is live.
Chipotle. Ooh, I feel like that's the definitive answer to that question.
Chipotle is my bae. No, I in all honesty, if there was one inanimate object that I could get rid of that I absolutely hate, it would be paper towels to dry your hands with. Because my hands get chapped during the winter. I want everywhere to be forced to have hand dryers that are air powered.
Ew.
What? Ew. What is wrong with an air? I don't want the Dyson Airblade where they get germs in it. Those are kind of cool. I love those. These go like your hands come out and they don't dry.
Those are the only ones I like. I don't like the ones you get at like the crappy old McDonald's where it's like blowing on your hands, like hot breath from McDonald's blowing on your hands till they're dry.
But your hands don't get chapped.
Well, my hands don't get chapped.
I get terribly chapped hands, so I'm gonna eliminate paper towels. Although then if you suppose something at home, well, no, you have cloth towels. You know, so you're being conservative. So we're saving the environment.
Now,
see, I'm being not only am I being globally conscious, I'm being personally conscious.
No, look at you. Why don't you go and straighten your tie up there for us?
Oh, you're welcome.
One thing that's interesting, I have heard of a reusable paper towel dispenser from like the 50s. Where they had it was like one of those old style cranking paper towel rolls.
It was like
but it was a continuous reusable thing that like you would crank it, you'd pull it out, dry your hands off, and then crank it, and it would wind up into this big spool.
Right.
And then once a week or once a month or whatever, they'd come in and collect it and replace it and run it again.
We used to have back in the day when I was a kid, my dad owned a bar when I was a child, and so they had one of those there. So they'd come down, and then as I got older, I'm like, you know, this feels like it's probably germ infested. Like this feels
it's probably like the thing of nuts on the bar. Like everybody's putting their nasty hands up in that junk.
Yeah, and
everybody wonders why those nuts got a funky taste.
In the 90s, though, nobody cared about germs. In the 90s,
that's a fair point.
We didn't care. We didn't have hand sanitizer.
I still don't care about germs.
I don't either.
I licked my floor earlier.
I don't.
No, I didn't do that. I'm just kidding.
You shouldn't do that.
Yeah, it's probably not safe.
You shouldn't do that.
So, you choose paper towels.
Paper towels.
Like regular, like
all paper
Bounty,
towels.
quicker picker-upper type paper towels.
You only get cloth towels.
Like rip, dry, and toss it in the trash can. No more.
All cloth.
Okay. If I were to get rid of one inanimate object, and I'm going to preface this by saying that it's an inanimate object that we are in regular use of, that by taking it away, we have an alternative that works better, and that's gasoline.
Okay.
And now I'm not some kind of
hippie.
I'm not a hippie. I'm not a like Mother Earth. I'm not that guy.
Hippie.
But I am saying I don't want to be paying $35 twice a week for gasoline just to burn it up in my car. And when I burn it in my car, makes my engine dirty, makes my oil dirty, makes me have to get maintenance done on my car that I've had for 5 years. And it's just a constant vicious cycle. And if we got rid of gasoline and did something cleaner, something better, like Tesla's doing, now that I can get behind.
Yeah, but Elon Musk's kind of weirdo.
I mean, he's a weirdo, yeah. But
he's weirdo.
He's a genius.
Yeah, I'm a genius. Well, I'm not really a genius.
Self-aggrandizing, I'll give you that.
I think I'm funny and smart, so I think I'm kind of smart. Like, I don't think I'm like that smart. Like, I'm okay.
Yeah.
Like, I would say, like, you know, whatever's average, I'm at least average.
If I were to rank you on smartness against, say, like a 10-year-old, I'd put you at like 11.
Yeah, no, thank you. I appreciate that. That's
years old.
That's good enough for me. I mean, that's.
Hey, are you smarter than a 5th grader? I think that counts.
Listen,
if you're smarter than a 10-year-old.
That was a good show. The show was great when it came out.
Yeah.
But those questions were not like 5th grade questions. A bunch of lies.
Yeah. Well.
And
I also got 5th grade geniuses to answer.
I still recently just found out that like I always thought that Ohio was on top of Indiana next to it, and for some reason I thought that Idaho was like closer to us than what it really is. My geography is not great.
Yeah.
Like, my geography really struggles. Like, I'm not good at maps.
Yeah.
But then again, it's like I don't really travel. Like, I travel. My traveling itinerary is literally St. Louis, Indy, occasionally Schaumburg for like work,
Germany,
and then Chicago by the Burbs.
Oh,
one of those, or Destin, Florida.
Speaking of the Burbs, did you ever see that Tom Hanks movie, The Burbs?
I didn't. I heard about it.
It was a weird movie.
Yeah,
it was funny. But it was one of those like dark comedies that you didn't really know whether you should laugh at it, because it was about this guy who lived in this suburb, and he and his neighbors started to suspect one of their other neighbors was a serial killer.
Yeah,
and so it was very like similar to like Disturbia, the Shia LaBeouf movie, which was good.
No, Shia LaBeouf reference. That's 2 tonight. That's
I know. We're gonna. He's sponsoring this episode. Actually, sponsored by Shia LaBeouf.
Shia LaBeouf.
That's not true. And Sprite, also not true.
Gross.
So anyway, it was kind of like, because in that movie, spoilers, he's got this crazy neighbor, and who I always thought was Russell Crowe, but actually isn't, and he's like killing people and burying them in his basement, right? And so they think that these guys, Tom Hanks and his buddies or whatever, think that these neighbors are doing the same thing. Right. And so they're going to prove it. And so they break into their house, and it's like, it's funny.
Yeah.
But it's like, you don't know whether you don't feel good about laughing at it.
I love Disturbia. Now you've mentioned that, now I'm like, that's a really good movie.
You should check out The Burbs.
I'll check it out.
Because it's like Disturbia, except with more like humor. And it's really funny.
I do love a good movie.
Yeah, same. All right, so let's get to our last question. Our last important topic for this episode.
It's good. This is probably one of the best ones.
This is one of the best questions we're going to answer tonight, because it's definitive. What we say here is what it's what the world is going to be looking for.
It's true.
So, what would you qualify as the number one best and number one worst superpower?
So, Daniel's question, you've got to look at like actual like superheroes. I can't just be like, oh, that'd be a terrible superpower. Like, it'd be like it's got to have been attempted in a show of some kind, whether it's a movie, whether it's a comic, whether it's like the show Heroes.
You can't just make something up.
Yeah, it can't be like, oh, well, if if all you could do was like put bugles on your fingers, but they're like really sharp bugles. Like that's not like a real thing.
Yeah. That'd be kind of awesome, though.
I mean, like
makes me want some bugles.
Like, what are like the best, like the legitimately best and worst superpower? Now, the problem with that question is that you could be like, well, Superman is the best, but Superman's got like all the powers, so you can't really pick Superman.
I have my answers already.
Go for it. No, please.
I mean, would you like to continue?
No, you please.
Okay, my definitive answers, and this, there may be some people listening that are like, you can't choose that. You might even say that, but it's a thing. Do you recall the television series Heroes?
I just mentioned that, and yes, you literally weren't listening, were you?
I wasn't listening.
You were listening. I literally referenced Heroes, but continue.
Do you recall the TV show? The TV show Heroes.
Have you ever seen Heroes?
Have you ever seen Heroes?
Have you ever seen Heroes?
Have you ever seen... Stay with me on this one. Have you ever seen Heroes?
Is it like... I don't want like the Heroes Reborn, because that was hot garbage.
Oh, I never even watched that one.
It was terrible.
I'm talking about season 1 of Heroes. Season 1 and season 2.
The best Heroes.
The best Heroes of the original. Not Heroes and Villains, just Heroes. When it was an original cool concept. Save the cheerleader, save the world, right? So, like, one of the main characters, the brother of the senator, the younger brother.
Yeah.
His power.
Played by Milo Ventimiglia.
This Is Us. He's on This Is Us now. I think he just died.
There's a crockpot incident, apparently, from what I saw on the internet. Don't use crockpots. They'll murder you.
Yeah, crockpots are death. Instapots, however, are life.
The best.
Don't have one. Would like one. Anyway, so his power is the best power, and I'll tell you why. Because he can mimic other people's powers. Now, and he can also, like, do it after the fact. So, like, if you had the power to fly, and I was this guy, I had this power, I could watch you fly, and I could mimic your ability to fly. And then later, 20 years later, when we're no longer friends... I can remember you and recall that power. Super, super cool. And so what he does, his kind of spoilers, if you haven't seen Heroes, you should probably check it out or turn off the thing for the next 12 seconds. Because, spoiler, what he does, he becomes like the ultimate hero or the ultimately, I think even a villain. Because he absorbs and mimics everybody else's powers, and then he becomes like a nuclear explosion and kills a bunch of people on accident. Yeah. Which is super bad, but what a crazy cool power to invent, right? That's on the top end. That's the number one best.
So the best power is the one that kills everybody? Gotcha.
No.
Yes. Psycho?
Yes. The worst power is from Marvel, believe it or not. And you might know what I'm talking about. You might catch on before I even get there. Long time ago, in Marvel's more obscure comic days, before they started making films and all this other stuff, before the MCU and all its glory, Marvel was grasping for straws, and they were just putting out comics just to put out comics. And one of the X-Men comics featured, not prominently, but did feature a character. I can't remember what they called him, but he was a character whose power was shooting maggots out of his fingertips.
I don't recall this. That sounds terrible.
Yeah.
That sounds like that's a bad superpower.
Or maybe it was out of his wrist. Maybe it was like a Spider-Man thing, but instead of shooting web out of his wrist, it was just maggots.
Yeah, well, I mean,
that's disgusting.
Yeah.
And just what? Yeah. Just what? And so I'm thinking to myself when I heard about this, I'm like, Marvel has reached a new low.
Yes. Yeah.
And so that in my professional and definitive opinion, worst power is shooting maggots randomly out of your wrists, and the best power is the ability to mimic other powers minus the risk of blowing up and killing everybody.
Well, so for me, the worst power, and this is non-negotiable. Mm-hmm. The worst power comes from the Fantastic Four, and it's old Stretchy Magoo, whatever his name is, Dr. Fantastic Four, whatever his name is. He was just like
Mr.
really stretchy.
Fantastic.
Mr. Fantastic. He was super stretchy. Okay?
Yeah.
Like, what kind of power is that?
Well, it didn't. And what's interesting is, and I don't know, I haven't read the comics, the Fantastic Four comics, but what's interesting is that none of the newest one kind of addressed it a little bit, but really none of the films addressed whether or not, as a character, his stretchiness made him extra strong. It just means he can reach really far.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. You know, I can get one of them one of those stick claw things from Dollar Store, and I can reach really far too. If I had a stick claw thing.
But if you pull on it too hard, it's going to rip.
Right.
And it's going to be useless.
Yeah, exactly. And you got a flobby arm.
Yeah, and then they kind of addressed that in the newest one, the newest Fantastic Four movie that was not that great.
Oh, it's terrible.
They addressed it a little bit because he had to have a special suit to hold himself together.
I say it was terrible. I think that it was just my complaint with the new Fantastic Four was that it ended too abruptly. It was like, oh, it's over, here it goes.
Yeah, and it was like they did a pretty decent job of building up to that climax, and then it was like, oh,
and boom,
and it's done. So
now for the best though, the best superpower, and this is just me being like I want that, like that's what I want to be able to do.
Yeah,
is I want to be Thor.
Let me ask you this: have you seen Ragnarok?
I just saw it, and it was amazing.
Wasn't it great?
I watched it the other night. I was very. First of all, the soundtrack was killer.
Yeah.
Killer soundtrack.
Yeah.
It was amazing. But I just there were so many good parts of it. Like people went on about how great Ragnarok was, and it's the best Marvel movie ever made. And
you were kind of a little jaded by people's opinions.
Yeah. Which I feel the same way about. I'm not seeing Black Panther yet, and I feel the same way about that because everyone's like literally right now if you go on Rotten Tomatoes or whatever,
it's got a 99.
It's better than The Godfather. Come on, let's
let's
listen,
put things into perspective here.
Before we start giving because if that's the case, then give Black Panther the Golden Globe for the best movie. Because if Black Panther is truly better than The Godfather, truly better than Shawshank Redemption, which is one of the best movies. Shawshank Redemption is to this day one of the best movies of all time. Mm-hmm. If you tell me right now that Black Panther is better, if you tell me right now it's better than The Dark Knight, I have a hard time believing you. Mm-hmm. Because the Dark Knight is the benchmark for all superhero movies.
Yeah,
I don't care what it is. The Dark Knight will likely forever be the greatest
quintessential,
the greatest superhero film of all time.
Yeah.
Because it was the and I still believe that. You know, I loved Ragnarok. I loved all the Avengers movies, all the Captain America movies. But The Dark Knight. Now I'm a Batman person, so
Same.
but I mean, The Dark Knight will always be the best superhero movie of all time. Right now, until it's dethroned. But I don't, does Black Panther? I can't tell you if Black Panther does that or not.
Yeah.
But anyway, I've gotten way off topic.
Best and
So
worst.
I loved Ragnarok. All right. So, but Thor's powers, like he can with the hammer, he can fly. He can deflect stuff. He can summon lightning, which now he can do with his hand. Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert.
We saw
and one eyeball free.
You saw that in the trailer for Ragnarok.
That's fair.
You saw his little eye patch in Ragnarok in the trailer. You saw his eye patch in the Infinity War trailer.
Yeah.
It's not a big surprise. He's a pirate now.
I think you're onto something there, though, because if you've seen the trailer for the new Infinity War, there is a scene, and I've watched a couple of kind of like, look at all these details. Yeah, breakdowns kind of things. And one of the things that they call out is the scene when Thor has strapped himself into this big machine and supposedly is forging himself a new weapon.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
Which is, from what I understand, a battle axe.
Yeah.
/ Mjolnir hammer thing, which is pretty dope. But so you're saying Thor's the best, and Mr. Fantastic is the worst.
Yeah,
those are pretty
stretchy.
great.
Yeah,
that's just like
it's like I'm just stretchy. So is Stretch Armstrong. Okay?
Yeah.
So is my Nana who does yoga. She's also. She can do like yoga moves. I can't do yoga moves. I'm 33 and I'm old.
Yeah, I can barely sit down in my car. That's not true. All right, so that's definitive. You've got your two, I've got mine two, and we have determined what they are to the world, and that is how the cookie crumbles. Now, before we go, I've got a new game. Since we talked a little bit about film in this episode, I got a new game that I want to play. It's called Guess That Film. Now, what I've done, because of our limitations via the medium that we do this on, I have created some sound bites from films that you're going to have to guess based on what you hear.
I got this.
This shouldn't be real hard, and we're going to start out with one that's pretty easy. So, and I'm going to give you some multiple choice so it'll be even a little bit easier for you. So take a listen. Number one. So, is that
was referenced for the record?
Is that A Knight's Tale, The Patriot, or The Dark Knight?
This is The Dark Knight.
The Dark Knight.
That was the pencil scene.
That was the pencil scene.
The pencil scene, which to this day, that was one of the most underrated scenes in that entire movie.
Yeah,
because you saw the Joker's
his
psyche,
darkness.
Oh,
yeah,
so good.
Okay, here's our next one. I just love that audio clips. Let's listen to that again.
This is a tasty burger.
I don't know why, but it makes me laugh so hard.
Is that Pulp Fiction?
Oh my goodness! I didn't even have to read it. That is Pulp Fiction.
I thought that was. I was thinking. I couldn't remember if Samuel L. Jackson said that after eating the burger, after eating the Royale with cheese.
Yeah. He said, now that is a good burger, or whatever it was he said.
Oh, it's good. It's a good movie.
All right. Here's the last one. I'll read the answers to you first, since you're probably going to get it first off. Is this Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, Star Wars Episode 4: A New Hope, or a home video of my brother picking on me, so I called him out on his terrible new mustache? Take a listen.
Laugh it up, fuzzball.
Funny story before you give me your answer. I think you know what this is. Funny story is that when me and my brother were younger, we you know how you get puberty and all that, and you start getting your little peach fuzz.
Yeah, oh yeah.
And
what's that?
My brother had this ingrown toenail thing going on, and at the same time he had his peach fuzz mustache, and he hadn't had his haircut in like a month, 2 months, and so he had this big bushy curly matted hairdo, this peach fuzz mustache, and it's infected toe thing. And so I made up this rap, and I was like, "Hey yo, infecto toe with your mustache and your big fat fro," and he just about laid into me. So what's your answer?
The answer is episode 4.
Episode 4. Do you know? Okay, bonus points if you can name the scene. Tell me where they were.
That is they. Oh, was that? Were they on? Were they in the Falcon? And it was no, because it was Harrison Ford telling Chewie to laugh at it back. I can't remember where they were at. I'm trying to remember that scene exactly where they were at.
There's a couple of moments throughout the film.
Was that when they were in the dumpster? No. They were. No, I don't. Tell me.
Okay, you were close. You were close. I'm trying to think. No, you weren't close because the dumpster scene was on the Death Star.
Yes.
Or on the battle cruiser or whatever it was.
No, correct. You're right.
So this was the moment when, right after Lando sets them up in Cloud City. And they are being taken away as prisoners.
Lando Calrissian?
And he says, he's like, "Arr!" And Han's like, "Laugh it up, fuzzball."
It's a good movie.
It is a great movie.
I love all the movies. I just love movies.
All right, well, that wraps it up for this week's episode. We are so glad to be back, and so glad that you stuck it out.
I'm happy to be here again.
Glad Austin's back to, be all not sick and all that good stuff. And I'm glad, I'm so glad that we took this time to answer these very important questions that were not submitted by people and they don't want to know what they are.
It's true. I feel like if you have a question that you need to know, like are dying to know, my opinion on it, please ask me, because I'll be honest with you. Leave a comment or leave a review and ask us a couple of questions. Go ahead and click that subscribe button while you're at it.
Click that subscribe button, and we might just feature your question on the next episode.
And if you work for NyQuil and you're listening, I will gladly take a sponsorship. I will do whatever it takes. I will peddle your products on this show. I'll take a show on NyQuil. I don't care. I'll do whatever it takes.
You are such a sellout.
Oh, in a heart. Listen, I would sell out this entire show for sponsorship. I don't even care.